going on, everyone? We got to talk about Bitcoin. Look at these prices, 118.4K. And on the 14th, as you all know, we went all the way up to 122K inside of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been doing some crazy numbers, but what we're really trying to talk about today are the crazier numbers that Bitcoin's more than likely going to do next. So what we're looking at next year with Bitcoin is more than likely going to be anywhere from 125 to 128K. See, once it passes 125K and gets to 128, it's going to be stuck inside of that limbo mode from 128 to 130 for a little bit. I feel like that is going to be not the peak, but that's going to be where people start to slow down just a little bit more. That's just my personal opinion here. Now, when we look at the charts, though, it does look like we might have some more momentum to get back up, right? So if you look at the MACD here on the 4-hour chart, you can see we've kind of exhausted the selling here, but now we're starting to see that there's a possibility just a little bit more selling can start, but it might just be short-lived, like something like this, and then it could just go off from there. And that's kind of what it's looking like it's doing, because if it wasn't, then we would have been like crashed all the way back down to about 111K, right? But right now, it's definitely looking like we're making our way towards another pump. So I do think we have that possibility of another pump coming inside of Bitcoin. Now, when you also look over here at the RSI, you can kind of see it almost looks like it wants to curve upwards. So look at the RSI. Doesn't it look like it's coming around here almost like it wants to curve up and then go for another round for more overbuying? So there's a possibility that the RSI and the MACD could curve upwards for more overbuying. And then we can start to see this reverse to the buying side of things, right? Because we just now seen the sell off from July 14th till now. And that's indicated by here, all of the selling the red candlesticks here on the MACD, right? And then once we start to see the lightly shaded red candlesticks, that's when you start to see the buying coming in. And then you see the buying slowing down once we get to the end of those lightly shaded candlesticks. And then now we're printing out a red candlestick from here. But there is a possibility that the red candlesticks can be short lived and that we just start to have massive movements to the upside. And that's really what we want to watch out for. So, like I said, the next area for us to go here inside of Bitcoin would be around 130K. Now, another thing that you can do here is checking just from the previous height, right? So we have a long term Fibonacci retracement here, right? If you look at this Fibonacci, you can see I've had this Fibonacci open all the way back here. I pretty much put it all the way back to where Bitcoin was at its complete bottom to where it's at now. But if we go ahead and take a look at this Fibonacci from a different point of view, from the last, breakout, which is all the way down here, then we can kind of come up with another area of how much higher we can actually go. So we can go from 122K all the way down here to where we have this bottom, right? And this bottom brought us all the way down here to about 74K. So if we look at it from this perspective, we can also just take away this one temporarily. We can see that, hey, we're just now touching the top. So you can see we're actually just now touching the Fibonacci up there for this one. And now we also look at the daily chart. It does look like it could be a little bit more bullish here inside of Bitcoin. So this is the daily chart. It does look like we have some more green candlesticks coming up here, right? Does look like we have the possibility to go up a little bit more. And then you can also see here on the RSI, there's a possibility that we can cross here and have some more overbuying. So we can always switch to the buying because whenever we have the lightly red candlesticks, that's when we're starting to bring some buying back in. When we're trying to switch over to the buying pressure, and then when we have the ones like this, the lightly green ones, we're switching to selling pressure. So yeah, currently at this moment, does look like we might have the possibility to reverse even on the daily. But when you're looking at it from the perspective of the other Fibonacci that we just now created, this shows us 150K. So this shows us 150K should be kind of that top to where we have like a massive pullback after that. And I've mentioned this a lot that 150K could be the peak of this bull run. That's what I think personally. I've been saying at the most 150K, but a lot of people are saying 200K, but we'll see. I think 150K is going to be the peak of this bull market. And that's just I'm gonna just stand on that, I guess, because that's just where I've been set at for the longest time. 150K is really those levels that I'm paying attention to. So, anyways, this is pretty much what I got for you guys. I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention. We're doing really well inside of Bitcoin, though, 6.3% in the last 7 days. So, Ethereum has actually been doing the most, 20.7% in the last 7 days. But Ethereum is still down 3.8% in the last year. So, Ethereum is kind of just catching up to Bitcoin and the rest of the market. So, that's all Ethereum is doing right now. And Ethereum at its all-time high is at 4,800. So Ethereum still has some ways to go. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Ethereum just starts outpacing Bitcoin. But hey, look, if we're going to talk about percentages here, from where we are now, all the way up until 152K, because that's technically where that Fibonacci is, that's 28%. So that's a 28% for Bitcoin if it goes from 118K to 152K. That's a 28% gain. So I think Bitcoin does have some potential here, but just know and just remember that Bitcoin is it's not the end all be all, right? You have other opportunities in the market. If we are to look at if we are to come over here and look at Ethereum, we can also see where Ethereum would be as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So from the current level right now, all the way up to the previous all-time high, we'll look at where Ethereum is going to be. And that would be about 44% in gains. So yeah, 44% in gains here for Ethereum from the current level to the all-time high to the previous all-time high. And then Bitcoin, you can also look at that going all the way up from 118K to 152K. 152K, that would be a whole of 28%. So you can choose, but right now it's looking like Ethereum has more upside potential when you're looking at gains. So I would definitely say look more into Ethereum. Just getting up to the previous all-time high, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good amount right there. And then Solana is also looking a little bit decent too, because Solana at its peak was 293. So you're almost doubling your money if you pick Solana, but then we gotta, bet on Solana doing big numbers. But with all the people trading meme coins on Solana, I think Solana, out of all the other meme coins, has the most potential outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, then Solana. And really, I don't even know how BNB is still holding above Solana because not many people use BNB much anymore. BNB is more of just a Binance thing. Like anybody who uses Binance probably uses BNB to an extent, but people don't really develop on BNB that much anymore. But BNB still keeps its high prices. And if you look at BNB, like it's nearly at all time highs right now. It's at $720. All time high for BNB is $788. So that is pretty big. But hey, it is what it is. This is pretty much all I got for you all today. Just kind of wanted to bring all this to your attention. I'll keep you all updated on the Bitcoin news and we'll keep doing these technical analysis. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Hit the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section, all that good stuff. And as always, I'll be back with another video.